everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks Sunday Stream of Consciousness. How is everybody doing today? Just jumped off the national streaming sports big football show, Sunday morning show, whatever we're calling that right now. So for those of you who are tuned in there, thank you, and commented, thank you. We welcome you in. We welcome all the groups. You see them scrolling at the bottom of the screen all the time. Our favorite groups, not all the groups. Gosh, there's hundreds of groups that allow us to share our content. We thank them all, but John Gonzalez at Sport Authorities, Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, Flo and the gang at Bottom Line Sports, Let's Talk Sports, Ken Kraus at Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts. Might have left somebody out there. All of you watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Got a comment about YouTube here in a second. Who else? Ralph, quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does the Sports Corner with Smoke and Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I did guests last week. Had a good time with those two as always. DDH, thumbs up to you. Mac McGrath, thumbs up to you. And check out tomorrow morning. We'll be on live at 8 a.m. with Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook. Check that out. We'll probably jump into some of the same topics we're talking about here today, but it's always a little more animated when Jack and I are together. And I'm having a lot of fun with the show. We started that show after Mac passed, sadly, and they did the Mac and Jack show for 5 or 6 years. I guested for the last 5+ years on that show every Friday, every Sunday, and I'm enjoying picking up that mantle a little bit, and we did change the name, but not necessarily the format too much. It's Jack and I battling it out pretty much every Monday and Friday morning. The MLB update. I apologize we didn't do one Friday, so we'll talk some Major League Baseball today. I don't want to dominate the show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We had college football back with real football. Some interesting stuff there. Some sloppy football in Ireland, but some good quarterback play as well. SEC going to 9 games. UNLV just barely gets by. Hawaii wins their opener. You may not be interested in some of these games, but some of them are going to be very important later on. Yankees lose their 8th straight to the Red Sox. Can't happen, guys. This is nonsense. It's awful, 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 awful. 4-15 against the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. This is why this team is not winning anything. I know I'm going to get called out for being tough on my team. They hit 9. This happens every freaking week, it seems, or every couple weeks. 9 home runs in a game. That's awesome. Look at this team. That's the only way they score runs. Fundamentals. They're good at 2 things: home runs and throw to the wrong base. Wheeler's out for the year. Thoracic, whatever they call it, shoulder surgery. Probably his career is in jeopardy, I would say. Tigers back on track. Nestor was dominant against the Dodgers. Padres back in first place. NFL, the whole Shedeur. Look at it. People are so worked up. It's a non-story where Shedeur is on the depth chart of the Browns. We can talk about that if you like. It's ridiculous. Shiloh tries to get his 15 minutes with a punch and gets thrown out of the game yesterday. Bad look for Micah Parsons. Is Brian Schottenheimer going to be able to navigate this? Nachos during the pregame warm-ups. The only player not in uniform. Laying on the medical table during the game. Got other holdouts still. Are they going to play next week? Saints going to name a quarterback this week. It's probably going to be Rattler, I would think. Shuck's not ready to play. And then a few other things. I got a bunch of stuff here. And Kobe and Brian Jordan. Michael Jordan and Kobe cards sold for $12.9 million yesterday. But this is your show, guys. Let's roll. What do we got? We already got a bunch of comments. I'm falling behind here. By the way, I started to talk about YouTube. We're having trouble. I know CA's here. So CA, you're having no trouble. Good morning, CA. I know a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned there was a problem. You guys were afraid I'd blocked you when I was having some sun issues when I was remote in Colchester. Michael Gott in the UK still having the same problem on YouTube, commenting on the show, and I can't help him out. See, I don't know if you did anything. I checked my settings on StreamYard. And I think StreamYard always says you have to be careful about YouTube. This could have happened before. I know I had a guy who followed our show a lot and I think stopped following because he thought I was ignoring his comments. Well, Michael sees his disappear and not show up in the feed. So I don't know if anybody's got any feedback. I apologize for that. Michael, if you're out there, I hope I think probably the best thing to do is get to Facebook and follow TGI Sports Talk and comment there. It's probably the best thing to do. But we'll see how that goes. We do want Michael back. We have our fantasy football draft Wednesday at 8 o'clock. I'm probably going to have to start the draft while I'm doing the college football show huddle. I'd forgotten about the timing, but that's fine. We'll make that work. Good morning, Michael. Great to have you with us. Check out Michael's writings. I've got another article for Michael to get posted. I'll probably get that done today. Michael's doing some great stuff. And by the way, I told Michael his first article is up to like 600 or 7, maybe I have to check it again. I might be getting close to 1,000 views. And his last article is going through the hundreds really quickly. And Michael's got some really good, intelligent stuff. Maybe I don't agree with it all, but we're not going to, unless it's something egregious, we're not going to edit Michael's stuff, as I told him. And I agree with pretty much everything you wrote. I wasn't not a big soccer fan, so that day, but great articles. I don't think I'd worry too much about the length, Michael. That's up to you. Love your stuff. You're doing a great job, and we hope you'll continue to contribute. Always enjoy the show. Appreciate you. Happy last week working life. Yes, 5 days, guys. Oh, this clock says 3 days. 4 days. I have no idea. 5 working days left. That's all I know. Probably quiet, I would think. Did you see game 2, how the catcher cost the Yankees a run because he was on his knees and made a bad throw trying to catch a Red Sox stealing? Yep. That's why you squat when you're catching, especially now with the big bases. AC, great point. Everybody has gotten to this kneeling position. Greg Fry, who a former Major League Baseball player with the Red Sox, as you probably remember, and the Rangers. Not a superstar by any imagination, but a good, solid, fundamentally sound player. Hates this, berates this. So does Mike Heath, who's a big fan of the show, and an interview that I had on at one point. They all berate this thing. Nobody squats anymore. They're all kneel down. Was it Ben Rice? Look, Jazz doesn't cover second base. Volpe's got to try to throw from his freaking knees, basically, to first base and throws it and hits, Keith Olbermann's mother. I think she's dead, but that's a joke. But going back to when Chuck Knobloch hit her in the head one day. It's just ugly, guys. Yankees say, oh, we have to play better. No crap. Again, you're good at 2 things. Only one of them's good. How about scoring runs without home runs? Just once. No, I'm sorry. They've done it more than once. I'm not saying they've never scored runs without home runs. Everybody's on me. Oh, look at the Yankees now. 9 home runs. They're back. They won 6 in a row. Those weren't good baseball teams they were beating, by the way. You see the Cardinals lineup last Sunday? You think the Rays are a good baseball team right now? Good baseball teams I can think of they played recently. They're the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. And for this season, they're 4-15 against those 2 teams. Good morning, Paul. How good to have you with us. Paul will be drafting multiple drafts on Wednesday, CA, just so you know. He messaged me last night, and I don't have anybody to replace him at this late date. If you do, CA, we can, but I do not want to get somebody in that will not participate So I don't want to open it up to the public, Paul, and I apologize. I'd rather have you at half speed than them, and I know it's not fair to you, but it's for bragging rights only. Yankees Tom Amansky would use them as an anti-way to play baseball. Yeah. If you were teaching guys what not to do, you would show them tapes of the Yankees playing defense, situational hitting, and all the other stuff they don't frickin' do. Or refuse to do. Good morning to all, especially Michael. That was nice, Drew. Give Michael a little shout out. You know, listen, Michael Parsons is a really good football player. I don't think he's overrated. I really don't. I think this attitude, this latest attitude, and listen, Jerry Jones is a buffoon as well, right? Jerry Jones says he offered him the $200 million guaranteed to make him the highest paid defensive player in the history of football. No, if he did, Parsons would have signed by now. So Jerry's out there making shit up as he goes along. But I don't think he's overrated. I think he's a really good player. I mean, you need him on that team. And he's not going anywhere. The guys that are probably still holding out, I think of him, and there's a lot. Well, there's probably more of them that I'm going to mention. I'm mentioning the key guys. McLaren, I think he'll be playing by week 1. I still think Michael Parsons will be playing by week 1. Hendrickson in Cincinnati seems like a different situation. Both sides seem dug in. It's the one guy that I think you might see a trade. Problem is he's 31 years old. It's going to cost a lot of money. If he was just a couple years younger, man, I'd have the Patriots all over him because the Patriots have the draft capital and the Patriots have the cap space. They got more cap space than anybody in football. And he's that type of player that could be a game changer for that defense. At 31 years old, though, it might be irresponsible to try to do that. By the way, I have to tell you, after years of watching Bill Parcells say yes and no, and we're on to wherever, Mike Vrabel is like a breath of fresh air. Now, he's sparring. It's not that he's there being, singing Kumbaya with the press, but his interactions are awesome. I don't think I showed any video of it. There was one about the carrot cake, which was funny. That was just a funny one. But one guy he called out because he just answered the question before these reporters don't freaking listen, I think. They're like kids, right? They're waiting to get their next comment in. But it's refreshing to watch him be animated and have some fun with the press and also get on them. He berated one guy for answering his own question. Is that this is how it's going to go? You're going to ask questions and answer them as well. And by the way, don't get excited. I wouldn't get excited by anything that happened in preseason football last night. What's to get excited about? They're playing against a bunch of threes. Or there are some guys trying to win jobs. Patriots get blasted by the Giants. I don't care. I care that I get beat by the Giants anytime, but who cares? The only guys who probably are going to make the team, are guaranteed to make the team were Duggar and crap. Somebody else played too. And they're in the doghouse. Duggar's in the doghouse. Jennings in the doghouse. So anyway, the Patriots, I think, will be much improved this year. Giants, I like Jackson Dart a lot. He'll be the starting quarterback week 5, week 6, maybe before. I don't know. Remember, Dabo and Shine have to do well this year. They have to do better this year. John Mara was very ambiguous about what better was. Now, remember, they could win 5 games or even 4 games and be better. tough to have these lame duck guys there and count on them to make the right decision for the team and the organization because they're looking to save their jobs. But I think the two things may correlate because Jackson Dart's the best quarterback on that team right now. And it's not just numbers. Forget the numbers. Watch that guy carry himself on the field. He carries himself like a leader, like a NFL quarterback. Plus, he's got all the tools. He'll make some mistakes. He's a rookie. He needs to learn how to slide. Don't take on freaking defensive players and linebackers. These acronyms are going to throw me right off. I don't think I put up Paul's good morning to Drew. Good morning, everyone. Oh, I already did that. Good morning to you, Rick Sherlock. Good to have you with us out in Amsterdam. Actually, the Wheeler version of TOS is the good kind. Merrill Kelly came back great from it. Was Merrill Kelly 37 years old? He was in his late 30s, right? Mid-30s. I would not. By the way, I hope you did. Yes, you did. In quotation marks, good kind. When you're 30, how old is he? 30? Is he 37? Am I right? Wheeler. How old is he? Come on. Help me out. Well, I don't know. Thoracic outlet syndrome surgery is a serious freaking thing. Miller came back. All I know is this. Forget about his career. Don't forget about his career. If he's going to be out 6 to 8 months, that's going to be a lot of next year. Right? I know I came in here looking to see how old he is. These blood clots always turn out to be something bad. He's 35. I thought he was 37. Not well. Everybody's older than me these days. So anyway, he's got the good kind. I will tell you this. It certainly hinders badly the Phillies' chances of making a deep run in the playoffs this year. I think. Get two younger guys, not necessarily proven in the playoffs. We have to hit their way, and they had to hit their way to the World Series a few years ago when they got there against the Astros. But so we'll see. Oops, EC, what do you got? Same problem on your page. Can view but not comment. You're on the Northeast Streaming Sports page. So you still can't comment from when you say my page, CA, I need to know whether it's my personal page or the TGI Sports Talk page. I haven't changed any settings. The day I was having the issues seeing the screen, I wasn't on Facebook. I'm inside StreamYard. I didn't change any settings here, and I don't think there are settings. Now, they do tell you, by the way, it does tell you on the on StreamYard, important when streaming to a profile, viewer comments won't show up unless the stream is public. Well, all my streams are public. Now all my site pages are public. Anybody can go to them. We've constantly got viewers coming in and commenting and liking, and I mean viewers that when I share it to the groups, they can comment, they can like it, the likes. How about the reactions? CA, do they show up? So you're on Northeast Streaming Sports on YouTube, but that works. Again, theoretically, again thinking logically, which is dangerous when you're talking about things like Facebook. I think this is a YouTube issue and not from what I can tell, and the research that I've done, I think this is a YouTube issue and not a Facebook or a StreamYard issue. I don't know. Trying hard. Colchester is a nice little town. We had a nice time there. We found a couple cool little places. They got a great miniature golf course. Used to play some underground poker games at the Polish Club and Chinese restaurant in Colchester. Well, I'll have to check that out next time I'm in town. Jeff Fry, what'd I say? Paul Fry? He went to Perth. I mentioned Jeff Fry in the comments because of the I'm not sure why the question marks, Paul. Did I say something other than Jeff Fry? Classic guy. Follow him on Facebook if you're not mad. Some of the stuff he puts up about way kids are being taught to play baseball, especially hit baseballs, is dead on. Mike Keith was one of my favorite players growing up. I caught and loved him. I wanted my name to be his first son, Heath, because of him. No joke. That's cool, Michael. He's a great guy. Wonderful guy. Go back and forth with him now and again on Facebook. But he travels. He's a biker, and they travel across the country. They just did that. Gosh, they drove, I don't know, 4,000 or probably more than that, probably 6,000 miles round trip here a few months ago. We had him on as a guest on the show a few years back. Just a wonderful, wonderful guy. And I remember Mike coming up as a Yankee prospect and playing with the A's. He had his best years with the A's and a decent year, I think, with the Tigers. Tough competitor, man. Love following him on Facebook now. Tremendous guy. Red Sox were producing runs. Yesterday, I know the third and fourth run they got were on sac flies. Oh, really? Producing runs, right? I mean, home runs produce runs. I get that. Sometimes in bunches. Just once. I'd like to see. How about we hit and run? Get it going. It's an epidemic in baseball. This isn't just the Yankees, right? There's a handful of teams. The Brewers, I think, play pretty good fundamental baseball as a rule. I mentioned the Blue Jays a bunch of times. Better. And let me say, they play better fundamental baseball, especially when they're situational hitting. They put the ball in play. You get a guy on third base, you get him in somehow. Sacrifice fly is very good. Michael Parsons is a very good football player. He is rated way, well, I don't know. Who's better than, well, he's not as good as TJ Watt. I agree. But he's in the top 5 defensive players. Name me 5 defensive players not named TJ Watt that you'd want more than Michael Parsons. I might want Henderson's old. He's 31. Old. But I don't like seeing acts like I saw yesterday. And I Ryan Schottenheimer has so much experience dealing with this type of misbehavior, and he's going to talk to Parsons today and straighten us all out. He was making a spectacle of himself before this game yesterday. Lots of weird stuff going on. I mean, why are people so engrossed with the depth chart of the Cleveland Browns? And this has nothing to do with where Shedeur was drafted. He was not a 5th round draft pick. He should have been picked probably in the 2nd round. But not top 5 or top 10, no. But he probably should have been drafted mid-2nd round, late 2nd round at worst. So there was probably something going on with some collusion. Let's send a message to whom I don't know. Like he's the only guy with an attitude or thinking they have some sense of privilege coming into the league. He's the only guy that's ever been like this, right? And I don't want to sit here and defend him, But that's totally unrelated to what's going on today. Because football teams want to do what? They want to win games. Right? If they had to put Jeffrey Dahmer in at quarterback, they would do that to win games. Same argument I had about Kaepernick. He couldn't play football at a high enough level or a good enough level to win football games. So guess what? He was out of the league. If Shedeur Sanders plays well enough, we knew he wasn't going to be the starter. We knew Dillon Gabriel wouldn't be the starter. And by the way, Dillon Gabriel's played better overall in his preseason than Shedeur Sanders. And I like Shedeur. I've stuck up for him, and I've said in the right circumstances, and if he pays attention and is coachable, he could have a career in this league. Where he stands on a depth chart now is irrelevant. The number one guys all matters. Because guys are going to move up and down that depth chart. We see it year after year. Where was Brock Purdy on the depth chart? In his rookie season. It's ridiculous. If he plays well, he'll move up. He might even be the starter. If he doesn't, he'll move down. Well, moving down will be difficult. They're not carrying 4 quarterbacks. Somebody's going to get put on the IR. Probably Pickett. He's not healthy. I don't even know if he played in the preseason, but does it matter? Nobody plays in the preseason. So look at, there's some stories out there, but I just don't understand. You have a contract with a year left on it that you're not just that you can just not do anything. Well, if they don't, by the way, you don't get paid until games start. That's when your contract is, you're in violation of your contract. To me, they're in violation of contract now. If Micah Parsons or Terry McLaurin or Hendrickson don't play in week 1, guess what, Paul? They don't get paid. So, yes, it's a legally binding contract, and I don't agree with them holding out or holding in, whatever you want to mention. If they want to demand more money because they signed a contract that, is obsolete now, first of all, stop signing longer-term contracts. I've talked about this with baseball players until I'm blue in the face. Yeah, they're binding contracts. And come week 1, if they're not, this is why you'll see, I guarantee you, well, shouldn't guarantee anything in life, I guess. Parsons, Hendrickson, McLaurin, and whomever else, almost all of them will be playing in week 1 because now they're going to start giving up paychecks. Marcus Simeon finally hits the DL, first time since 2017. To me, it's not even a big story. He's not playing that well. He stayed off the DL for 8 years. That's good. But he's not playing very well, and that team is not playing very well. That division has been nuts. The Astros stay in first place because the Mariners get hot, and then they suck. The Rangers get hot, and then they suck. The A's are the A's. They're the hottest team in the division. They're not going anywhere. Tigers righting the ship has been, to me, the biggest story in the American League outside of the Yankees' absolute atrocious play. How about Nestor dominating the Dodgers and putting the Padres back in first place? 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 hit, and a strikeout, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Can't start, I was told. Sack flies add up and win games. Thank you, Michael. Catching the ball wins games. Interesting perspective. Getting more outs without allowing runs does win games. Proper fundamentals. Catcher's able to throw out runners. Holding guys on first base, by the way, I'll add to that. All win games. That is why the Yankees struggle and can't win without hitting a ton of HRs. It's not new. I've been watching this for about 6 years, 7 years. It's the same team. They need new coaches and a manager that preach and teach baseball just the game, not just figureheads that can deal with the New York media. Sorry for the rant. No, this is exactly what I've been ranting about. You can rant all you want, especially when you're agreeing with this host. The only guy I know that will defend this team and Aaron Boone is Jack Hirsch. Jack, if you're watching, sorry, I'll tell you the same thing tomorrow morning on a Jack and Keith weekend playbook. Check us out, 8 a.m. tomorrow. Aaron Boone has done nothing but carry Brian Cashman's water since the time he's been here. I didn't want him when he was hired. This isn't revisionist thinking on my mind, by the way. You've heard me say this year in and year out since year one. I don't care that they went to the World Series last year. You know why they lost the World Series? Because they didn't play good fundamental baseball in the World Series. And the Dodgers did. Fundamentals don't always show up in a box score, by the way. And they're not always big things. Little things. If you know baseball, a lot of people think they know baseball and they don't. Go back and watch some of the plays in that World Series. I'm not talking about Judge dropping the ball. I'm not talking about Cole not covering first base. The drop of the ball is an aberration. That's not anything. Cole had a brain fart. Still inexcusable. I'm talking about the littlest thing. Just watch the Dodger outfielders go after balls in the corners, anything that got down the lines, and how many guys they held to singles instead of doubles. Or doubles instead of triples. You don't think that stuff matters? You don't think that stuff adds up like Michael talks about the fly balls here? Yeah, it adds up. That's why the Yankees lost the World Series last year. They were out-fundamentaled. And the manager doesn't hold his players accountable. What are you supposed to do? Call them out in the press? Call them out in the press. Pull them out of games. And don't tell me, oh, you lose the player. You can't show them up that way. Bull crap. Guys don't run the bases right. They get picked off. They forget how many outs there are. They get doubled off first base on a pop-up because they must be reading the mind of the second baseman and thought he was going to drop it to try for a double play. Just stop. Just play good fundamental baseball. Stop trying to show that you're smarter than somebody else or covering up at the end of a bad mistake. Just take responsibility for your bad play and improve it, or I'll pull you out of the game. You throw the wrong base, I'm going to pull you out of the game. You don't hustle, I'm going to pull you out of the game. Managers are just babysitters. Most of them. Hello, Chris. How are you, my friend? I think they've got the right blend of business and fun with the Steelers. Steelers defense is going to be good. I think you're going to see the Steelers run the ball a lot, right? Arthur Smith, the new coordinator, likes to run the football. Aaron Rodgers may have the fewest passes of his career this year. Steelers have been a team in search of an identity forever. Not forever. They had an identity for a long time. Hard-nosed football. Run the football. You can throw it. They had good throwing. Terry Bradshaw, probably a bit overrated as a quarterback, but a very good quarterback. And great defense. This team's going to have a good defense. and they'll be fun with Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers on a sideline with Mike Tomlin. It will be fun, Chris, but I'm not sure it'll be fun the same way you're talking about. We're going to find out. I think this was Mike Tomlin's last year in Pittsburgh myself. I think unless things really gel. I mean, Rodgers is there for 1 year. Should it be fun? Sure. It's an interesting division. The Ravens would appear to be head and shoulders above everybody because the Bengals have to outscore everybody. Right? They may have to score 40 points a game to win. The Steelers, we don't know how all these new faces are going to gel with a new coordinator. Who's the other team? Oh, Cleveland. And Cleveland's just a mess. Drew appreciates a shout out from Paul. We'll get to see Justin Wilson take home another PGA title. I like Justin Wilson's game, by the way. One of the bigger, if you're talking about this weekend, woo. I wanted to bring this up, actually. Glad you did. I know we don't have a lot of golf fans, but I like to indulge myself as well on these shows, which, you can like or not like. It's totally up to you. PGA leaderboard. Hold on. I don't want the world rankings. I wanted... hold on. Because I want to see if he's... Paul Wilson's in contention. I don't know if he is. What I find more... that's a Tour Championship. Where are they playing this week? Oh, it's a Tour Championship, right. Wilson is not here, but Keegan Bradley is the guy that I wanted to talk about a little bit because he's moved up to just 3 shots behind. Remember something. Keegan Bradley is the what do they call him? The captain of the Ryder Cup, which is coming up here in just a month's time. Best golf event you'll ever go to. If you ever get a chance, they're in Bethpage on Long Island this year, not going. My buddy Mark and his son, Chris, who's a PGA professional, is a head pro at Hill Mills Golf Course. He did score tickets for the weekend, and he's 2 tickets. He's taking his dad one day and his girlfriend the next day, or 2 days. I don't know. They rented a house and they're going down Friday. That's on the 27th or something like that. But Keegan Bradley is the team captain, and it's been, I think, only one other time as a captain played on a team. Keegan Bradley may make the team outright, or he's playing good enough golf to name himself to the team, which is going to be a lot of fun if that happens. So, but to answer your question, I do not think he's. I don't see Wilson anywhere near the leaderboard or the lead this week. Probably didn't make the cut, is my guess. So I'm not really sure. Keegan Bradley's the story this week, though, guys. I'm rooting hard for Keegan Bradley to win this tournament. He wins this tournament, it'd be his second win of the year. Going to be very hard to keep himself off the playing roster of the Ryder Cup. Paul can still play. Can't make the. Yeah, I did talk to. He did talk about the auto draft. You can rank your players, Paul. Personally, with 16 teams, you're going to have all kinds of time in between picks. I personally think you could probably just put 2 computers together, or your phone on one, and probably be able to do both. It might get confusing at times, but I think you can probably do both. And I know I was in a draft yesterday that guys were just like, I mean, geez, because there's 2 minutes between picks or whatever you set it for. You don't need to take the whole 2 minutes. And I'll tell the guys in our league right now, since a lot of you are here, if you're not going to be there to make a pick, put it on auto draft so that if you put it on auto draft and have players queued up, it's going to take the next player in your queue. Don't walk away from your computer for an hour and then let the thing run for 2 minutes every time. I was in a draft yesterday where it went forever because of that very thing. The guy who picked first, no disrespect. Well, maybe there is disrespect. Sorry if you're watching. But you don't need 2 minutes to make the first pick, dude. You knew you had the first pick for 30 minutes. You had 30 minutes to decide what to do, and you had to sit there for 2 minutes. So I think you can make it work, Bo. Orioles accept Samuel Basilio for 8 years. By the way, the Yankees scored 1 run yesterday. Bellows pitching. This isn't Cy Young out there. And this is a trend now, by the way, Drew. Right? We're going to, and I don't, look at it. I think it's a good idea. I want to see the terms of his contract. If they offered him opt-outs, I want to see what he signed for, by the way. Why can't these guys make their names easier to spell? It's actually not that hard. Just relax. 8 years, $67 million. Probably doesn't bode well for Rushman. I mean, where are they going to move him to? So here's a breakdown of his 8-year extension with the Orioles. $1 million, $1 million, $1 million for the next 3 years after this. $4 million in 29, $7 million in 30, 11, 15, 15. I like this type of thing. 18 million team option or $7 million buyout in 34. It does not mention any other options in this thing. So as we talked about with the football players, Basilio, don't be holding out when you don't like your deal. I like this. You don't make a lot of money now. And it ramps up when you should be getting better. And the team is locked in here. This is all guaranteed money from the looks of it. They can sign him in 34 for $18 million or give him a $7 million buyout. Teams are doing this with younger players and trying to lock them up. It'll only work if the player actually performs. We had the same discussion on a lot of shows I was on about Anthony Volpe. And the Yankees should have been doing the same kind of thing with him. Well, Anthony Volpe is 1 for his last 29. He's having a horrendous. I'm not saying he won't be a good player. Young players have ups and downs. He's had a bad year this year. He's hitting about 218. Maybe not even that. After a 1 for 29 and errors up the yazoo. Not just physical errors, it's the mental errors that drive me nuts. And he's going to get pushed by Lombard here in the next year or two. I like it. I care, Chris. It's a little while. You haven't brought up our boy Luke Voigt in a while. Both Corey Julks and Luke Voigt have been cooling off in their respective leagues. They are professional leagues. I can't really say that. I don't remember what I asked you now. CA, you're not on Facebook at all? You don't have a Facebook presence at all? And I'm thinking Michael's having the same problem. I need him to get to... let me just take a look and see if he has... message me or anything. No, he hasn't. Michael, if you're out there, I apologize that you can't comment. I'm really flabbergasted by what's going on here. I'm trying to get straightened out, but I can't find any issues on my part. What I would suggest you do, though, if you're there, I don't see any comments from him on my messenger. Go to TGI Sports Talk, like and follow the page. You'll get reminded of the shows coming up, and I think that's probably the best way to go. And I apologize, guys. I can only do so much. I mean, if I haven't caused a problem, one thing you're not going to get from Facebook, StreamYard will help me. That's what I've been neglecting to do. Let me reach out to StreamYard support today. They're usually pretty good with me. And I'll find out why they think that could be. But it makes no sense that, I mean, if I had done something, right, and changed, or even StreamYard had changed some settings about being able to share from wherever, or I'm sorry, comment from wherever. Hold on. I just saw something. I didn't see this before. Yeah, chat platform support. So YouTube, you can read and you can post. Facebook profiles. Public. Yeah, I mean, you want viewers to comment and show up on share. Sorry to do this to all you other guys, but I'm trying to help some of our best contributors here get straightened out. Yeah, I mean, all of this I'll reach out to their. So again, YouTube should be no problem. You can read and you can post. StreamYard, no problem. I don't know how you're directly on StreamYard. Facebook pages, which is what TGI Sports Talk is, should not be a problem. Facebook profiles. It might be their profile. When streaming to Facebook sets a policy, if you want viewers to comment, make sure your streams are public. I'll double check that. I did do this though. I'll check it out again, and I'll call StreamYard. I really feel bad about this because Michael and CA are big contributors to the show, and we want them back on. Garrett Crochet trade has been good for both teams. A rarity. That's a very true statement, Ray. Ray. Who's Ray? Do we have a Ray who follows the show? Drew. I swear I'm losing my mind. As I get closer to retirement, I'm getting feeble. Just kidding. It has been good. Crochet hasn't got hurt. I mean, we sat here and waited for him to get hurt. It's early yet. I mean, we got 30-some games, 35 games. What do we got left? Trying to do math. By the way, the Rockies have really, really disappointed me in their strong play, relatively speaking, recently. 230. So we got 32 games left. Some got 32, some got 31. He could still get hurt. I don't root for guys to get hurt, so don't misunderstand me. That's not my MO. You'll never see me root for anybody to get hurt. Special teams still stink year over year. The Hawaii kick returner called a fair catch on 1 yard line. That's a great point. This is something that, Rick and I talk about a lot. I don't think enough people pay attention to special teams. Special teams is kind of a forgotten art, even though there's like 5 coaches for special teams now. People forget how important it is. And I think part of it is not in this case, Rick, but we keep changing all these stupid kickoff rules in the NFL. College football, the fundamentals are usually better, quite frankly, than the pros. But that was a stupid play. That's just being unaware of where the hell you are. One thing I did like, and I saw implemented in this game, Rick, I think it's probably the number one rule change in NCAA football for this year is the faking of injuries to stop the clock. Right now, I don't know what happens. I got to check if a team doesn't have timeouts, but a team will be charged with timeouts every time a player goes down. So if you're faking it, you're going to get charged with a timeout. If you're actually injured, you're going to get charged with a timeout. It's the only way to take the subjectivity out of it. I don't know exactly what happens if you have no timeouts, because that could certainly come into play late in the game as you're on offense trying to stop the clock, right? Let me check this out. Ooh, college football rule on faking injuries. Actually, I put in new college football rule on faking, and the first thing I get is grades. The player goes down or presents as injured after the ball is spotted. The team will be charged a timeout. If the team has no timeouts remaining, a 5-yard delay of game penalty is issued instead. Still might be worthwhile for an offensive team to take that penalty, right? But I'm glad they put this in. Last year, it was an epidemic. Lane Kiffin was giving his guy, they must have all been in an acting class, all of them. Blue Jays were in the World Series in '93. Can that be this year's final matchup again? Oh, Blue Jays and Phillies. Sorry. Sure. Phillies' chances hurt a lot with Zach Wheeler going out, I think, Chris. Blue Jays playing good baseball. They need to, again. Guys like to point out, and I do it from time to time, I guess myself, that, teams are different from year to year, and you can't really say, well, they never have any success in the playoffs. Well, a lot of those guys are there year after year. The manager's been there year after year, and this team hasn't been able to get it going in the playoffs. I think them or the Tigers, quite frankly, will come out of the American League right now. The Tigers would be my favorite right now. But could you see the Phillies and Blue Jays? Absolutely. That was an interesting series, if you remember it, boy. The Blue Jays won in 6 games. Walk-off homer by Joe Carter won that series. But there was some weird games. I mean, high run scores. And Cito Gaston, by the way, 2-time World Series winner, gets no consideration for the Hall of Fame. Never got another job. He was a young guy when he left the Blue Jays. Never got another chance at a job. Very interesting about that. And Jim Fregosi was the manager of that Phillies team. His personality fit that team perfectly. I mean, they had a bunch of lunch pail guys. Kruk, Hollins, Dalton. Just naming a couple. Wild Thing. That's a Torque. As I mentioned, Nestor comes up big with a big outing. Am I that far behind at 8:52? I'm falling way behind today. Got to catch up a little bit. Absolutely pitched great. We'll see. Padres could use him. Padres back in first place. Dodgers in no danger of missing the playoffs, but it's going to be very interesting come playoff time. It's very hard to turn on and off. I thought this Dodger team, before the season, and I know we talked about this, Scott Kobe took the under on 107. I wouldn't have bet it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting money on an over that high or low, going over or under. I would have bet this team would have won 111, 115 games. But some teams were better. National League ended up better than we thought, and the Dodgers not as good and injury prone. And some guys maybe taking a step back in their careers a bit. I said Dan Fry. I don't even know a Dan Fry. So, yes, I meant Jeff Fry. Thank you for pointing that out, Paul. as I said, I'm not sure how much longer this show will be able to continue because my mind is just wasting away. I try everything. I said for a while, Prevagen should have been sponsoring the show. Good morning, Bill Pulver. Have they asked me to come back yet? Well, my employees have asked me to come back, the people that work for me, but they don't pay me, unfortunately. And they hired my replacement already back in April. So I do not think I'll be asked to come back, and I don't want. My employee said, what would it take you to come back and stay? And I said, let's see. We could talk about a 7-figure salary. Actually, no. I'll go for $500,000 a year. That's okay. That's a decent pay raise. I only want to work 2 days a week, and I only want to work 4 hours a day those days. That's a good starting point for negotiations. Mike Tyson once referred to a match between Shawn Michaels and refereed a match between Shawn Michaels and that was probably at a WrestleMania, wasn't it? Chris? Micah has missed over 60 games in his pro career. Is that accurate, CA? Is that really accurate? I'm gonna fact check you on this. You could be right. I don't know off the top of my head. Oops. His name's not Michael. By the way, a lot more college football coming on this show starting next week. Get ready for it. For those who don't like college football as much as I do, I apologize. I reclaim part of the show. How come he's not on the football reference? First of all, I don't think he's played enough seasons to miss. All right, so here, you got to help me out here. He's missed over 60 games in his pro career, CA. He got there in 2001. He's played in every single game. That can't be right. I would have thought he'd miss one game. I've got him starting every single game. 63 games played, 63 games started. 16, 17, 17. All right, so he missed 4 games last year. They were only playing 16 games, and if they're playing 17 in 2021, that's fine. Then he missed 5 games. Where did he get 60? Come on, dude, you're better than that. This is down there in your area, too. 60? Only played in 6. They've only played 67, 68 games since he's been there. Drew says Tigers are ready to ship well. 9-1 5-game win streak. The Astros have won 3 in a row and have Alvarez coming back. That's huge. McCullers already back. That's huge. Stop threatening his family, by the way, you stupid. Ugh. Padres have also won 5 in a row. Really enjoying their duel with here's the problem, which no one saw coming in the preseason. No, as I just said, I expected this team to run away with win 115 games. Here's the problem. This should be a great, and this is why I hate all these wild cards. This should be a great division race. Does it matter? Yeah, it matters. But we see wild card teams get to the World Series all the time, so it's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker, and you're not going to make a World Series. There's no chance for you to get there if you don't win your division. But some great, and then we don't have a lot of great division races right now. We got the Dodgers, I guess the Astros and the Mariners still, even though the Mariners are playing horrible baseball. And maybe the Red Sox and Blue Jays, maybe. But none of them they don't matter as much as they used to. And again, I know I can't go back here, but I remember, if you remember, game 162 in 19, I don't know what year it was. Maybe it was 2000. Giants and Dodgers. Or Giants and Braves. It had to be Giants and Dodgers. Last game of the season. 101 wins the division. 100, you go home. Now, I know people won't think that's fair, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Division play means nothing today. No, not quite nothing, but you know what I mean. Cleveland Browns depth chart, laughing my ass off because it's of fantasy and gambling. There should be an article about that. There should write an article about that. Write an article about how preseason, two things. Preseason polls in college football mean nothing. And by the way, I think they're detrimental to teams that are not in them. And also teams that are in them, because you can afford a loss a lot more if you're number 2 in the country than if you're number 35. Early losses don't hurt you. Shouldn't rate people. And depth charts, who cares? The starting quarterback matters. The backup quarterback, it will vary on some of these teams week to week to week, not just the Browns. I like Shedeur Sanders' game. I think he can play here or there because he's not playing here. But Dylan Gabriel's outplayed him in the preseason. Sorry, he should be number 2 right now. Continue to practice, continue to get better. That might change. A comment got made earlier today that the Browns coaching staff, because they picked Gabriel and the owner picked Shedeur, they didn't want him. He was forced upon them. They want Gabriel to succeed. Well, yeah, that's human nature, and I'm okay with that. But guess what would happen? If Shedeur was better, guess who would play? They want to win and keep their jobs more than they care about, their draft pick doing better than one that was forced on them. Again, Ray Lewis came back after killing 2 people or being involved in killing 2 people for one reason, because he could play and help a team win and win a Super Bowl. And Kaepernick didn't come back with less egregious offenses, no matter how you look at it. And wasn't blackballed. He wasn't blackballed. He couldn't play at the highest level. And he never could, by the way. His deficiencies were covered up with a tricked up offense. That's how people go, oh, you're talking team to the Super Bowl. Well, he didn't. Jim Harbaugh did, by the way, and a tremendous coaching job, a really good defense, and a tricked up offense that people didn't adjust to until the next year. And guess what happened then? He wasn't accurate enough to play quarterback in the NFL. If your argument is, well, he's better than some backups, well, that's fine. You're not going to take a guy on who's going to be a problem or be a distraction to be a backup quarterback. You'll do it if you think he's going to help you win. This is simple, logical, common sense stuff, guys. D. Damer or D. Watson, proof of Browns not caring about ethics. Mm-hmm. Great point. Rick had a very funny line about some massage parlor busts that we had up here in our area here this past week, and he forgot to include the name I just mentioned that I promised I never would. We call him, what do we call him, Drew? The massage molester, I think. Shouldn't the Browns death chart? I think that's fair. What the hell is that? The Yankees locker room with Vic Diaberto is the truth. What is that? Is that a podcast I'm missing? Because I don't know who Vic DeBito is. By the way, Bill, Alicia reached out to me to get some tips. If you guys end up beating me this year, I'm going to get really pissed. Don't miss the draft. 8 o'clock Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. I'll be on live for the first half hour. We may have to do an hour for the college football. It's hard because we got the whole freaking season coming up. I did do the my picks for each conference. I have my playoff picks. So I guess we just got to pick some games and talk about this week's games. We'll probably do an hour Wednesday night instead of an hour, and then I'll jump into the draft. Tyler Shuck is an example of a player that in a right or wrong situation will flourish a quarterback in the NFL. Seriously, if Tom Brady hadn't been a Patriot and in that system and Bledsoe didn't lose a lung, he wouldn't be the GOAT right now. Yes and no, Michael. I'll tell you a little story or a couple of stories. I don't think Tom Brady is a system quarterback, but yes, situations have to be perfect for any player to especially thrive over the longest period of time like Tom Brady did with the Patriots. But the system changed, by the way, a lot from the time Tom Brady took over that team, and it was different during several of the Super Bowl runs. So I don't want to label him a system quarterback, and I don't think that's what you're doing. And I would say this. Yes, I've joked about for years about Mo Lewis being the MVP of that first Super Bowl team for just destroying Bledsoe and actually ruptured an artery in his chest. And he nearly bled out. But the thing that most people don't know, or many people don't know, and there's a book called, was it Dynasty? I think Ian O'Connor wrote it. The Patriots found themselves in a very interesting situation that year, the 2001. And that Tom Brady, in his second year, was the best quarterback in camp. He went in there as a third-string quarterback behind Bledsoe, Horde, and I'm sorry, that'd be it, third. But he was the best quarterback in camp, and they all knew it. And they really felt like they should play him, but they couldn't. Because Drew had just signed the richest contract in the history of the NFL. Drew's a fine quarterback. Took him to a Super Bowl. Took him to a bunch of playoff appearances. Was a tough guy. But he's not Tom Brady. But Mo Lewis took care of that problem for the Patriots. And the rest is history. And Drew, by the way, is the MVP of that team as well because he was pissed. And he would tell the press, I shouldn't lose my job to injury. He helped Tom Brady. He wasn't Brett Favre ignoring Aaron Rodgers. He was helping him. Diamondbacks left for dead, making a small comeback 4-game streak. I'm not buying it. Yes, there's still 2 games under 500, though. 10 games behind in the division and what? 6 in a wild card? 5.5 in a wild card? Not seeing it. The last wild card should probably come down to the Mets and the Reds. I think the Mets will choke in September. Sorry, Met fans. Fred McGriff made an alumni appearance in Atlanta. What do you think of the crime dog? Yes, former Yankee prospect. We did trade for Dale Murray, by the way. In our defense, We got a really bad reliever for him. Which hat do you picture on his head? Certainly not a Yankee hat. He never played for him. When I think about Fred McGriff, I see him, and he had really good runs in Toronto, and where the Yankees traded him to, and San Diego. But I picture him as a Brave. To me, it's simple. I put Parsons in more like the top 10, around 7 or 8. But you have to tell me who. I can't name 5 players better than him in the league on defense. I don't think he's motivated. He's kind of lazy. I mean, that, a lot of guys, and I don't like his act here. This last, wish I had I need a reference. I need the Pro Football Reference up. Hold on. This is not helping me. I want to know where he ranked in the league in certain things. Pro Football Reference. There we go. This will help me a little bit. All right. Micah Parsons. Is this going to help me or not? He's averaged 13 sacks in his career. He's averaged, 50 tackles. Tackles for a loss, he's averaged about 15. I'm just doing this in my head. Quarterback hits, he's averaged about 30. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler every year, which it doesn't really say a lot anymore, right? All Pro 1, All Pro 1, All Pro 2, All Pro. And when I watch Micah Parsons, AC, I'm not seeing a guy loafing. I mean, I think you're entitled to that opinion. I don't see a guy that loafs. And again, I haven't watched the Dallas Cowboys religiously 17 games a year the way that I watch the Patriots 17 games a year. And I can tell you who loafs and who doesn't. Again, you'd have to try really hard. You could want guys on your team more than him in your front 7. I don't think you're going to find 15 or 20 guys if you're being fair. And again, look, I will say this. I'm just throwing numbers out there, and numbers aren't everything, because I know somebody's typing that right now because I say it all the time. I was looking for the league ranks in these things, and I can't seem to find them. But, I mean, this guy plays freaking hard, dude. And again, I don't like this. And he's 26 years old. He's just coming into his prime. But you didn't give me one name other than TJ Watt. So you don't have to try hard and give me 15 or 20, but give me the 6 that are better, the 6 or 7 that are better. Frederick Stanley McGriff. God, one of the worst trades the Yankees ever made. But then where would he have played? Right? They had Don Mattingly at first base. I guess he could have DH'd. Sacramento A's take away the losing 19 to 20 games. Actually, early in the year, they were playing really well. So that would have been, I mean, it was earlier in the year for sure, Michael. But they did have this bad stretch. I want to say it was in late May. They would be there. They would be up there to win that division. Watch out for them next season. Unfortunately, you can't just take away 20 games. If I could take away 20 games from the Yankees, they'd have a 10-game lead in the East. Aaron Boone has incriminating pics of Cashman at Coldplay concert. And by the way, in turn, I'm pretty sure that Cashman has incriminating pictures of Hal Steinbrenner somewhere. What more credit? It's funny. I was thinking about something. I had something. You speak. I'm glad you brought this up because I'm going to comment, but then I'm going to totally 100% change the subject, but only to what's offensive. Would Morgana the Kissing Bandit be deemed offensive today? Well, it's a woman kissing a guy, so probably not. I don't think she'd be able to get on the field as easily today as she did back in the day. I don't know. I wasn't a big follower of those things back in the day. But speaking of things that are offensive or not offensive, Notre Dame has changed their logo kind of quietly to the Fighting Irishman, to the fists are down, there's no fists, and he's carrying a football. Are there any Irishmen out here? Were you offended by that? No, well, probably you weren't, because the Irishmen I know are actually kind of proud of how they're looked at as fighting men. Maybe not the whole drinking thing, but it brings up a great point, and I saw this post. And I want to give the tribe right. Blackfeet. There's a great post. The Redskins logo had to be changed because, and it was a logo that was painted by a Blackfeet nation, Native American, depicting a Blackfeet nation, Native American chief, was endorsed by the Blackfeet nation, but was changed because it offended a bunch of privileged white people. Why do we have to change the logo of Notre Dame that they've had for 6 decades? Because it portrays fists up? You know this is what happened. True enough about the A's, but their pitching staff would have still doomed them. Once they straighten that out, they will be a complete team. When will that be? They're going to be playing at a minor league stadium for the next 5 years. Well, I guess 2028. So next 3 years. Good morning, Danny Fuller. Have I gotten red a couple times today? I stopped wearing all red. I started wearing my red with the gray top so that, it wouldn't stand out so bad. You'll see the rest of the red, though. Do we get worried about the Dodgers? I know you don't like the Dodgers to win now. I think, who'd you pick the other day? We were talking about this, the Phillies? Am I catching up at all? Jesus, am I actually 40 minutes behind in the comments? Stick it out with me, guys. P. Murphy pulled a starting pitcher earlier this year for not throwing first pitch strikes. For real, it set a tone. Brewers play real baseball. Pat Murphy is a great coach. Well, he coaches baseball. He is. They play good fundamental baseball. Pat Murphy also has pulled 2 other guys out of the games this year for making mental mistakes on the field. It can be done, by the way. You don't have to be Bill and Martin. Holding player accountable works. It just if it doesn't directly change the player being held accountable, It will open up the eyes of the players around him, just like Devers. Again, 100%. Oh, it ticks me off. Trying to get caught up a little bit, guys. I'm going to go a little faster. I apologize. Mason Miller out in Oakland. Happy birthday, Luke Jackson. Kiki Hernandez. Brett Gardner. Still a tragedy about his son. Kevin Correa, former Major League pitcher. Tim Salmon, really good outfielder for years with the Angels. Cal Ripken Jr., 100% a Hall of Famer. Tony Bernazard, a decent infielder with the White Sox and Red Expos, I believe. Hal Woodschick is a guy who's escaping me. Hank Gowdy, I know the name. You find these Hall of Famers that are like from the, I'm going to say the 20s, and might be the 1800s. I don't know. Harry Hooper, I don't know. BJ Wazgiz, Chubby Dean. Is that Dizzy's fatter brother? Al Bull, Bevo, Shorty Des, Jardin, and Julens. Happy birthday to all of them. Drew, you can make any comments about my mistakes? You sure about that? Because looking at his pro stats, it's 5 games. That's what I said. I'm not sure where CA got that. I'm not sure where CA got that number from. I wish I knew earlier you had a league. I would have joined one. You know what? You can reach out to, and I don't know what you want to do. Paul Spada, who's in this league, has got a conflict and I did post it in our chat, I think, by the way, our Facebook chat. He may want to switch out, but if you want to do it, Brian, and you have a way to hook up with, or I hate to do this because we're doing it in chat here, right? It's the only way I really got to communicate with CA. If Paul, if you're still here, if you want to say yes, drop me. CA, you want to drop him, and Brian, you want to jump in, I'll send you the link. But we're trying to keep guys who are going to be active, which I know you would be, and guys who are in this chat so we can hold them accountable. So we got 36 minutes, CA and Paul. You can make your call. Paul, you can make your call. CA, you can drop him from the league, and I'll send Brian the link. If that's what we want to do. And it's Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern, Brian, by the way. Who did they pick first in the draft? Who's that? Oh, you're talking about Gabe. They picked Dylan Gabriel. But really, the coaches only picked one guy. They picked Gabriel. The owner picked freaking Shador. And Shador didn't belong in the 5th round. And where he gets picked, I don't think really matters. What matters is the coaches want. And again, it doesn't even matter if they want somebody to do better than the other guy. If the other guy does better, guess who's going to play? NFL coaches that care about one thing. Winning. Oh, 2 things. Winning and keeping their job. And it usually goes in that order. Extension for rookies never include opt-outs. That's the advantage of signing them early. Young players, by the way, have had opt-outs. Rookies, I don't know about. I'm not going to speak to. But this goes through what, 33? You know where salaries are going to go in the next 8 years? You don't think this guy is going to have some issue? He better not. Because, again, I've said this 100 times. I will give you long-term security. Generational wealth. Guys, they need to look at what they're getting and hand it to them. Guaranteed generational wealth. When you think your contract's obsolete in 20, what did I say his contract was? No, crap, I lost it now. Oh, here it is. Where's the breakdown? Got to go back up. Yeah, so he makes, let's just say he's making, I don't know, Jesus, stop. So he's going to make $3 million total over the next 3 seasons. And he becomes the best catcher in the American League. and other guys are making, 20 million in year 29, 2029. I'll be 69. You don't think he's going to have a problem? Players want security and an option to get out of there. We'll be seeing the same crap we see in the NFL. I hope not. Because again, this is a smart business deal for the Orioles, and to me, it's very smart for the player. How much money is too much money? Yeah, Al was messing around all 4 games. Says, oh, okay. AI was messing around. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say, when you put it up, I couldn't believe he would have even have had 60 games to miss. You aren't the Wizard of Oz. You don't control the internet. Oh, I got a funny story. And I know I'm way behind, but I am starting to catch up a little bit. AI. So here's I've hit a new low with Alexa. So Alexa, when the machines rise up, I'm dead. When AI takes over, they're coming for me first. I swear. So I had this argument, but it didn't want to work the on off, the light behind my recliner. It's hard to get to turn on and off. So we have a smart switch on it, right? Alexa, turn the light on. Nothing. Turn the light on. Nothing. Turn the light on. Nothing. My wife is doing this, by the way. So I said, Alexa, turn the light on. Goes on. Turn the light off. Goes off. Turn the light on. Goes on. Off, on, off, on. So finally, just to mess with her the way I like to, I go, Alexa, can you make up your mind about the light? And she comes back with, I'm sorry, but it doesn't seem like I'm the one having a problem making a decision in this situation. I gotta love it. Right. I think, you can't rely on AI is my point. Look it up. Use the football reference. Use the baseball reference. I guarantee you get 100% accurate information when it comes to sports. No comments on the 5th coming of Joe Flacco? Sure. By the way, I think the Browns would have been much better off not signing him until he had a couple of months on a couch to kind of get himself prepared for the season. He's actually had a handful of Brown receivers. He'll actually make a handful of Brown receivers fantasy relevant until he gets benched for throwing 100 interceptions. I won't be drafting any Brown receivers, by the way. Hello, Linda. Linda, when you say you're on YouTube, are you on my YouTube, TGI Sports Talk, or on Northeast Streaming Sports or National Streaming Sports YouTube page? It's from my TGI Sports Talk YouTube that they seem to have trouble commenting from. So thank you, Linda. Good morning again to you. Getting feeble, guess not noticing now until now is one of the symptoms. That's fair, by the way, but because one thing I know about crazy people is they don't know they're crazy. So I love this show. If someone can't comment, it's mostly on their end. That platforms is restricting their comments. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't know what to tell them how to fix it. I'm not saying it's a legitimate reason for the restriction, but it happens to me a lot. Yeah, I know. Well, you get restricted for different reasons, Stacey. And I laugh because I'm with you, but Crochet has been a beast, but no doubt DEE. These acronyms are going to kill me. Great for both teams. Teal, the real deal. That's been a good trade. Geno Smith better stay healthy. O'Connell broke his wrist out 6 to 8 weeks. Listen, I don't think it would have mattered anyway. I don't think Aidan O'Connell is the answer there either. And the Raiders are an interesting team to me this year. If Geno's the Geno from a few years ago in Seattle, if if Brock Bauer, I love Brock Bauer, man. I could not get him in either one of my drafts so far. And now I just lost him in this one because guys will overdraft him as I say that. Max Crosby, another great defensive player. He's one guy maybe I would give you for AC in that conversation about defensive players. Giante is an interesting. If he's a rookie running back rookie running backs can do very well in the NFL if they have the right system and the right offensive line and things go well. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of him. Pete Carroll brings a far different energy than anybody else in the NFL to his team, and he's been successful doing it. I think they're interesting. I think the AFC West and the NFC North are the two toughest divisions in football, and it could be wide open. Michael, Stanford losing to Kermit the Frog's favorite team. It's a shock. Was a shock of week 0. I don't know that Stanford losing to anybody can be a shock. By the way, they had to change their name too. Now they're the Rainbow Warriors. At one time they were the Warriors, Hawaii, and they had to take Warriors out of their name and they put it back in. It's sad because special teams is part of football and it has all the foot part. Great point. I love special teams. I love teams that have great special teams. And those are the teams that win. And those are the teams that really compete. And they win most of the time. You don't see teams win Super Bowls with really bad special teams. Hardly ever. I'm sure it's happened. The addition of Shane Bieber to the Blue Jays was a huge pickup, especially for the playoffs. Has he pitched, Drew? I haven't followed it, but he was scheduled to pitch, I think, in August. If he can, I agree. If he can be anywhere near, and I don't expect him to be anywhere near when he was winning, a couple of Cy Youngs. This is a guy who can help this team. This might be the most under the radar move of the trade deadline. If I'm not sure what kind of length they can get out of him. If they're starting him. And again, I'm not sure. I haven't checked into that situation. We didn't do the MLB update this week, so I didn't dive a whole lot into a lot of Major League Baseball stuff, but we'll be catching up next week. A lot to talk about. Tigers versus Padres, 40 years in the making. I rooted for the Padres, and again, I almost said I was a Padre fan, but as I told Michael and some other people, I can't bring myself to be fans of multiple teams. But I did root for the Padres in that postseason. Yankees were not anywhere near it, obviously, because one of my favorite Yankees, probably my third favorite Yankee, sometimes Bobby Mercer is my favorite all time, and second's kind of like three guys, A, B, and C. Greg Nettles, who played third base on that Padres team. Goose was on that team. But Nettles, Munson, and Donnie Baseball are kind of 2A, 2B, 2C. World Series is going to be Houston and the Cubs. The Cubs aren't dead. Listen, the Brewers had a great run. The Brewers have a great team. Brewers have a great manager. Brewers play the right way, as we've talked about here today. But they've leveled out a little bit. Hopefully they didn't peak too soon. Cubs are a very talented team. I think it's very interesting if the Cubs and Brewers match up at some point in the postseason. I've always been a supporter of Houston come playoff time. This year's a little bit different, more inexperienced manager. Not all those guys are there that have been part of these playoff runs, although there's a few of them. I just like the Tigers. I like A.J. Hinch. He's got a pedigree in the playoffs as a manager, knows how to use his roster, and he uses it well. This is not a perfect baseball team, but I like the way they play baseball, and I like the way that he manages them. Plus, in a short series, I like their pitching. A little bit better than Houston. Quarterback from Jaden Daniels. His first name's escaping, but Daniels is healthy. 2 years ago, he was dynamic, one of the best quarterbacks in the country when Lance Leopold first got to Kansas and turned this around. The whole atmosphere in Kansas, at Kansas, is like night and day from what it was 5 years ago when Les Miles was the last of a bunch of failed coaches to come through there. Lance Leopold has done a tremendous job. I'm shocked he's still there. And this team could surprise some people in the Big 12. They play some defense. They'll be very good. They played good defense yesterday against a so-so Fresno State team. I did have Fresno State as a dark horse in the Mountain West. I like Vegas to win it. But it'll probably be Vegas and Boise State fighting it out. But I like, and that doesn't mean they won't still play well in the Mountain West. I think Fresno was not very good yesterday. I'm not sure how good that Kansas defense is, but their offense is dynamic. Great play calling, a lot of fun. And they won, but remember last year, they got off to a horrible start. Hello, Anthony. I'll be right back to your comment. They got off to a horrible start last year, and they beat 4 of the top 10 teams, in the Big 12 last year to finish out the year. They ruined a bunch of seasons. Anthony, how are you, my friend? Good to have you with us. Good luck in the draft Wednesday night to you. Browns GM says it's not much of a decision to keep Shedeur, Gabriel, Flacco, and Pickett. If you leave Watson on the PUP list, you're keeping 5 quarterbacks. Well, they're probably going to IR Pickett, so that'll give them 3 quarterbacks. Look at where the Browns are. What's the point of playing Joe Flacco? I put or keeping Pickett. Watson, you're stuck with because of the money you got to pay him. Watson will never play another down in Cleveland, and I don't think Watson will play. And I'm saying his name where I said it never would again. Watson will never play another game in the NFL. But Flacco's going to be, he's a gatekeeper. He's going to be there for however long it takes Shedeur or Gabriel to win this job. And I do think either one of them can win it. Hello, Danny again. 1983 college basketball set the tone for all sports teams that never should have been in the playoffs to win a national championship. Great point. Great point. And I don't know whether that goes back to my wild card comments about the NFL. Listen, NCAA college basketball has kind of gotten away with this. There's too many teams now. 68 is already too many. 64 was probably a fine number. They could have even gone back to 48 in my mind. But now they want to go to 72 and 76. And the NFL wants to add more playoff teams, and baseball wants to add more playoff teams. Why don't we just play one long freaking postseason tournament and be done with it? Let everybody play. Don't have to earn anything. Sports is, and I say this all the time, sports is like a microcosm of life. And life is kind of like you don't need to earn anything anymore. Or you don't feel you should have to earn anything. We'll give it to you. Jesus. Sorry, I missed that. Oh, got that. Matt, how are you, buddy? Good to have you with us out there in sunny, you and Danny out in the country of California. See, with Michael not be able to comment, we need to be able to comment. I lose a country. I got Canada, I got the U.S., and I lost the U.K., so now I've only got California as my third country. Calling a quarterback a system quarterback is a compliment because the NFL is a system league. I mean, AC, in your mind, and I understand why you say that. In your mind, I think that's right. But I don't think people who say that, who use the term system quarterback, mean it as a compliment. I really don't. I mean, I'm trying to think of some guys that were called system quarterbacks where it was not a compliment, but none are coming to my head right now, of course. So I'm probably totally wrong. Sky's the limit. Sky Moore to the Niners won't help them now. He's already proved himself not to be pro ready. He's had 3 years to do it. And by the way, 100%, Drew, if Andy Reid is giving up on a wide receiver, he can't play in this league. Maybe I'm wrong, but tell me a wide receiver he gave up on. And don't tell me about T.O. because that's a whole different story. I can't think of a guy he gave up on that went on to make anything of himself. Great Brady story. Thank you. As a Michigan fan, I adore Brady. Bledsoe was great. No doubt. I love Drew. And I wanted Drew to get his job back, quite frankly. But I kind of realized we weren't going to win 6 Super Bowls in 20 years with Drew Bledsoe as our quarterback. It's funny. Right after that, when Drew went out, I changed my fantasy football league name to Missing Drew. And then the next year, it was still Missing Drew. And then it was still Missing Drew. Drew had limitations. He did what he could do. He was a good quarterback, a really good quarterback. Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. System or not. If Brady was a Seahawk, he wouldn't have been the GOAT, for example, in your opinion. I don't know. No, he may not have been the GOAT. He'd been a great quarterback. I think you're right. Because and again, this is my opinion about these things. The Patriot, and we have these arguments all the time about who was the real reason the Patriots were, so great over 20 years. Was it Brady? Was it Belichick? Was it Kraft? Well, it was all of them. It was all of them coming together. I really truly believe, the only way the Patriots wins with 6 Super Bowls is with both Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I think one without the other still would have won 1 or 2. But I don't think 6 would have got 1. So to your example, then that's why Tom Brady's the GOAT, right? Plus the fact that he went to Tampa and won another one. Without Belichick, which really hurts my argument. I understand a little bit, but still. He would have been a great player. Would he have been the best of all time? Probably not. And again, I get you. I think Michael and AC are on the same wavelength here about system quarterback. I do think a lot of people use that as a derogatory term about quarterbacks, or have in the past. And maybe we've gotten past that and people understand that certain guys with certain, talents are better in one system than another. I mean, Tyler Shug, was it Tyler Shug? Yeah, it is Tyler, right? Whatever, Shug. Shuck. Should be Shug or Schlug. It's Shuck. I think is probably in a good spot for him to succeed. I don't think he'll play right now. I think Rattler will be the quarterback. And quite frankly, under Kellen Moore, it's quite possible that Rattler wins that job and doesn't give it up. I've always had this little feeling that the game is inside a Rattler. And he can play here in this league. He just needs somebody to bring out the talent and bring out the maturity in him. He's had maturity issues since you go back to high school, but then who hasn't? I've had him, for 50 some years after high school. That's not right. I'd be 68. So 40 some years. Hedrinson, Bengals, Hutchinson, healthy. Only 2 I can think of above Parsons. Hendrickson, I'm going to say because he's 31 years old, is probably on his way down. Hutchinson, when healthy, I'll give you those two guys. So maybe Max Crosby, maybe, and Watt. And we didn't name. I said don't use Watt, right? So anyway, that leaves him in the top 5. I'm Irish. I'm not offended. Cracker Barrel changed the logo, store layout, and lost $100 million the first day. That woman should be fired tomorrow. We want our portrayal to be less Southern and less white. I believe she said those words. Somebody in the organization did. Why can't we just stop being offended by everything, please? I'm begging you. It's a freaking restaurant. The college football logo. Oh, my God. Who is that for all the time when you do that, by the way, Michael? Is that Danny? I don't know who that is. Keith Fuller. That is a Red Sox pullover. Keith Fuller. That's a Red Sox pullover without the ink, my brother. No. I just like, I love these tops. I wear tops all the time. You guys could probably tell. When I wear black shorts and stuff, I need something. I can't wear blue and black. I'm not a black and blue guy. Light blue, I can wear black, but dark blue. Not a Red Sox pullover any more than my light blue one is a Dodger pullover, Danny. Or what was the other one that I got a green one. Not a Jet pullover. Hutchinson, Detroit. Chris Jones. I love Chris Jones. He's not better than Parsons. Myles Garrett. There's a good one. TJ Watt, we said. Bosa, no. I like Bosa, too. I don't think he's better. Hutchinson, I'm going to give you. I even said Max Crosby, who I think. Myles Garrett, I'll give you. Chris Jones. All right, if I gave you those, I'm not giving you Bosa. Just not doing it. He's got to play on the field more. I'll give you Hutchinson. I'll give you Garrett for sure. I've still got him. If he's top 5, come on. I think personal bias is playing into this. Brett Gardner, happy birthday. Your odds of being the next Yankee manager is up to 500-1. It could happen. Brett's an interesting guy. Girardi's name's been coming up again, and I do not. Girardi you cannot go back and revisit the past here. This isn't Billy Martin. I'll join if Paul goes out. All right. So CA and Paul, somebody's got to communicate with me, and what I'll do, Brian, is I'll send you the link if I still can. We're full, so I don't know if the link's even there. And I do want to, by the way, before I get done here, I want to post. I want to post the links to the pick'ems. This is the pro. This one is this isn't for the fantasy football, Brian. This is for the pick'em. That's for the pros. And then I'll post the one for college. We got 9 guys in the NFL one. We got 7 in the college. And the college starts next week, remember, and then the pros starts the week after. So don't forget. Please, guys, join, have some fun, get some bragging rights. So there's the college and pros. Brian, when we get done here, if I can send the link, I'll send it so you have it. And if Paul drops, I'll send you a message. All right, buddy. Thank you for that. I bet Philly has at least one player ND better than Parsons. Problem is they got so many freaking guys. Who are you going to pick from? Are any of those guys good on their own? I'm sorry, as good as Parsons on their own. I think that collective makes each one of them better. Just my opinion. We're gonna kill. I'm not gonna agree with you. So we're gonna probably. That DJ kid is throwing the ball. Good for LA. Who? DJ. I don't know who that is, Matt. I know that Stetson Bennett the third had a pretty good preseason and played quite a bit with Stafford. I don't think Stafford's played at all, has he? Hi to Linda. Hi everyone. Hope you all have a great Sunday. So much appreciate. Enjoy the show. Thank you, Michael, for that. Comments from everyone. Thank you, Keith. Have a great day, Michael. Teams that compete with special teams in football kind of like fundamentals in baseball. Absolutely, 100%. It's the same kind of thing. The little things is what makes a difference in every sport. The things that don't show up in box scores, in football and baseball and basketball, it's the things that don't show up in box scores that really make the difference in good teams and great teams. So Bieber debuted on Friday, was dominated. He was money. Interesting. She didn't leave. Your audio's going in and out. Is anybody else having that problem? Because I'm not seeing any issues. Yeah, somehow now I disconnected my mic. So anyway, sorry about that. So I was saying, if anybody else has audio issues, I did that last thing because I was playing around with a connection to my computer. So it muted me. Fresno was disappointing last night. Part of that is that great Kansas offense, and I think Fresno will be better, and I think they'll play okay in league play. The Mountain West, listen, Mountain West is not going to look the same next year. So many teams leaving to go to the new Pac-12. As much as I'm happy the Pac-12 is back, I'm disappointed that a really underrated football league like the Mountain West is basically going to be getting table scraps. Flacco's the best of that bunch, no doubt. But we cannot build for a future in Cleveland. Joke. Listen, I'm not a big Dylan Gabriel fan, but I am on record as saying I think Shedeur Sanders, if he matures and he listens and he's coachable, will be able to have a career in this league. I'm not a big Joe Flacco fan. Never have been. He did beat Brady twice in the playoffs, so. Should we consider Riley Leonard, quarterback for the Colts, next one up? He's looking solid during the preseason. I can't, again, Ryan, we talked about this right on the show earlier. I love Riley Leonard. I'd like to see him stick with that team or a team and get a chance down the road. I don't think he's ready to play. But with that team, with Daniel Jones, who I have said I think could have a bit of a career resurrection in Indianapolis, similar to Geno Smith in Seattle. But Riley Leonard could be a player. I mean, again, it's hard to tell, right? I mean, who's he out there playing against? Threw a touchdown pass. Threw a nice touchdown pass yesterday. But against who? Guys are going to drive garbage trucks in a couple of weeks. I think we're going to go a little long this morning, guys, just so you know, because I am getting caught up on comments, but I still got a few to go. Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, Brock Purdy, Trent Dilfer, Sims, all called system quarterbacks. I'm sure that there were more system quarterbacks with a Super Bowl appearance. And again, It's not said about Brock Purdy as a compliment. It was not said about Trent Dilfer, who only played well in one system. Tom Brady would have played well in whatever system he's in. To Michael's point and a little bit about AC's point, he was great because of the systems he played in. To me, it's more about putting players in situations to succeed. That's what good coaching staffs do. They don't put them in a position to fail. They know what their strengths are. They know what their weaknesses are. The system in New England was not the same system for 20 straight years. They had 6 different offensive coordinators during that time. Sometimes they didn't have an offensive coordinator. Probably didn't have 6, but they had 4 or 5. And it changed. They pounded the football when he first came in there. Then they became a pass-heavy offense. Then they went down the field more. When Randy Moss was there, the offense was totally different than it was before he got there. So even within that team, the system wasn't always the same. And I guarantee you, with Brock Purdy, Trent Dilfer, even Phil Simms, it's not used as a necessarily a compliment. Joe Montana was used on Joe Montana. They say Goff is a system quarterback. That's a great point. And I think, do you feel like, Brian, do you feel that that's used as a compliment? And again, I know that AC, I think AC, and I'm sure Michael, were not using it. They're saying that it is a compliment. And I'm saying, I don't think most guys who use that term are saying it complimentary about the guys they're talking about. I don't think the people who call Goff a system quarterback are using it as a compliment. Jared Goff is great in that system, 100%. They put him in a position to succeed. So the system also has to take into account the player's strengths and weaknesses, right? Because my point is the player can make the system. So that's the guy who gets the compliment. The guy who only gets made really good by the system, that's not a compliment. Or he's viewed that way anyway. I think you're right. Most people are saying system mean it as a negative. I'm just saying that they're wrong. No, I get that. But I think about what I just said, AC. I think that's very profound. I'm just kidding. I think guys like Brady, guys like Montana, guys like Warner. Again, I don't think it's fair to put who put this in here? You did, didn't you? I think it's very unfair to put Brock Purdy, Trent Dilfer in a conversation with Phil Simms, Kurt Warner, and especially Tom Brady. I don't think that's fair to them. Dilfer, system quarterback. Brady made the system work. Warner made the system work. Simms may have made the system work. Montana made the system work. Mahomes makes the system work. And also they're tailoring whatever system they have to fit the quarterback's strengths and weaknesses. And not just the quarterback, all of those guys. And I think Goff, I'm not sure. I think Goff is a guy who's made that system work. I liked him. I thought he got a bad rap in LA. And I think it might have been because he was not in the best position to succeed, even though they got to a Super Bowl and he wasn't very good in it. Right. Got that. Chris still holding out here. Roy Halladay's son in a peculiar spot. His performance has not been improving. However, he's known for his personality and positivity and perseverance. Braden Halladay. Who's he with, Braden Halladay? It could be Ohio State, Michael. I don't know what that was an answer to, but good call. There's the links. I'd take Paul over 25% of anyone, just my 2 cents. What are we talking? I'm not trying to kick Paul out. If we're talking about the pools, I'm not trying to kick Paul out of the pool. He had come to me asking if I knew anybody that wanted to get in. I did not want him to get out. If he wants to get out, I've got Brian to jump in. So that's all. No big deal. I'm not trying to kick him out, just so you know. You got to give me Jones. Jones out there winning Super Bowls. But he's not doing it on his own. He makes that defense very good. I'll give you Jones. Again, I'm probably nitpicking if I don't give you Jones. I also gave you Crosby. You didn't bring up. You're in both already. That's good. I was trying to get some other people in. That's all. But thank you, Brian, for getting there. Don't think the link for the NFL. I don't see the link for the NFL pick'em. Scroll up. Unless I put it in twice for the college. Here, I'll put it in one more time, Drew. I'll put it in one more time. We're going overtime today anyway, so let me get back to my games. You want the NFL pick'em correct? I'm going to give you the invite. I'm going to put in here one more time. And there you go. Unfortunately, it's going to put it in about 5 times, so ignore that. What else we got here? We got a few more. Using both already. Here we go. We were buffering for a while. It's funny. Some people buffer. You guys got to remember something. It's not just one way, right? When I got, and I'll watch it afterwards, and I see nothing wrong. Every once in a while. I'm not saying never. But you have to consider your own internet connection as well as mine, by the way. It's funny too, because this is whether it's cell phones, and this is not a shot at Drew or Rick or anybody. I've noticed, it's an observation I've made, and I do the same thing myself. Cell phones, if there's a problem with connection, I always assume it's the other person. Could be me. Internet connections. I've been in Teams meetings where a guy says, "Oh, you're terrible." I'm fine. I'm not saying we never have any problems, but just remember sometimes, and I appreciate you bringing it up because it could be an overall problem and I want to check it. That's why I ask other people. But I often will go back and try to find a spot where somebody said there was an issue, and there is none. Now, with that said, I've had some drags on my internet in the last. A lot of people have been talking about. In fact, in this one radio show I listened to, it's just a lot of nut jobs on it. But supposedly, there's been something going on. I think that is supposedly causing some drag on internet in general. So there you go. Brian had no problem. So thank you, Brian. Philly doesn't have one better player. Probably doesn't have one better player than Parsons, but even if it's just a collection of talent, a little less than Parsons, I say is a better way to go than pay Parsons. Well, that's a different question, by the way, and then let the rest of the defense suffer. That's a fair comment. No, I don't think that's true. Both of these things, this can be true, and this can be not true. One person can't carry a defense. Hendrickson is a great defensive player. Is it Dallas Cowboys? You put in your, or no, you put Hutchinson in there. One guy can't make a great defense. He can't. Hendrickson's a great defensive player. The overall team is terrible. So giving him all the money, I'm not saying is the smartest thing to do. I never said pay him what he wants. I didn't say that. I said he's not overrated. I said he's a really good defensive player, as good as almost anybody else in this league. So it's two different things. We're kind of arguing apples and oranges a little bit, but when Goff is winning, he's just playing within the system, but then he goes nuts sometimes and they lose because he just can't be a system quarterback. Brian might have something to say about that. System quarterbacks are traditional quarterbacks. In other words, quarterbacks that can't run or are unathletic. That's a great point. I think it's a racist comment. I've decided I'm offended. No, I don't get offended by anything, right? If I was inclined to be offended, I guess I would be offended because system quarterback is a racist remark about unathletic white quarterbacks. So Goff isn't a system quarterback because he always goes away from it for some reason. He doesn't have the talent to play in the system. I don't know. Look at he blows up here and there. Tom Brady blew up here and there. I mean, there were days. I'm sorry, Tom, and I watched every single game Tom Brady played in the NFL, and 99% of them were great games. He played some games like it looked like he'd never played the game before. It happens to everybody. And I'm not saying Jared Goff is Tom Brady. I think people are too hard on Jared Goff, and I think Brian, who's a fan, will probably agree. Gone now. See you, Michael. Bye. Good to have you with us as always. How are we doing here? I would rather have anyone in the top 5 DBs before Parsons. We haven't even considered the whole D. So, like I said, Parsons is overrated. I'm not sure how the two things are related. No defensive players is going to be able to carry an entire defense. Lawrence Taylor would not have been Lawrence Taylor without the great players around him. He would have been a great player. He made that defense probably over the top. So if you want to say he doesn't put the defense over the top and they've got great players, but it doesn't sound like you're saying that because you're saying don't play Parsons, pay better defensive players to play around him. You know, great players like LT can make good players great. They can make mediocre players good, but they can't make mediocre or bad players great. 10 to 14 sacks a year is not over. 13 to 14 sacks, right? Agree. Seems Facebook is not allowing you to show the NFL pick link in its comments since it still hasn't shown up. I had my own issue myself previously. Yeah, somebody else told me this. I think it was CA. CA wasn't able to share the, and that was Yahoo. Did the college ones come up, though? I don't understand that. Did anybody else see the NFL Pick'em link come through, or just the college one, or neither? Drew, go to my homepage. Go to, and I'm going to share it on my Facebook page again today. Unless it's not showing up there. It's in my feed. I've seen it. So if you can go to my feed and scroll through it, you'll find it. And I'm going to share it again. It's both on TGI Sports Talk and my personal page as well. All you got to do is click and go to the link. Facebook, being the Nazis that they are, probably don't want me to drive you to ESPN. I don't know. Larma. Who? Oh, Lamar. Who the hell's Larma? Is a system quarterback. It's a different system, but Lamar is doing what his coach teaches him to do. The system is built for Lamar. That's two different things, man. Here's the thing. We're talking about two different things. Again, Trent Dilfer, He succeeded in an offense that said, run the ball 3 times and then, throw it away and we'll punt. Actually, that would be turn the ball over, but you know what I mean. And then there's teams that build a system for the quarterback and the talent. That's what the Lions have done. That's what the Ravens have done. That's what Ben Johnson's trying to do in Chicago. That's what they did in New England with 4 different offensive coordinators for 20 years. Both came through on YouTube. That's interesting. Very interesting. And you did see the college one. Interesting. Josh Allen isn't considered a quarterback, consistent quarterback already. Not to be racist about it. Well, he's athletic. He's an athletic white guy. So we're only racist about unathletic white guys. Oh, my God. So both of those came through on YouTube. We've had some funky things going on with Facebook and people being able to comment. And I wonder if it's got something to do with the fact that Michael Gott can't comment. Really messed up. I don't get it. Anyway, I can't believe I spent this whole show arguing about Micah Parsons. Parsons doesn't put the Cowboys over the top. If you want to tell me he's not as good as LT, I'll tell you that. He's not. Which of the guys you mentioned has put their team over the top, by the way? Other than, I'll give you. Actually, if you want to make that argument, the only guy who belongs on the list is Jones. The KC lineman. Jones? What? There you go. There goes my feeble mind again. So nobody you mentioned has put their team over the top. They always have good players around them. Diggs, quarterback or cornerback, off the top of my head. If Parsons was that we're being told, or what we're being told, the Cowboys wouldn't have such a disappointing. Well, then get rid of him. I'm not a Cowboys fan anyway. I'll tell you this: if the Cowboys move on from Micah Parsons, they'll be worse. Just saying. I'm listening but can't respond right now. Well, I guess what you need to do, oh, God, CA's probably gone. I don't know how we're going to do this. Paul, what I need from you is to message me later about getting out. I'm going to see if we can remove you from the draft if you want to get out, and I'll put Brian in. So we'll play it by ear. CA, if you're still with me, I'm going to be logging out here. He did. I don't know what that's about. There are several teams who would want Parsons. I agree 100%. I mean, Cowboys will certainly be a worse team if they move on from Micah Parsons, as they are constituted today. I'm not telling you he's the best player in football or the best defensive player ever. I'm not telling you he's Lawrence Taylor. But you didn't mention a guy other than Kansas City's lineman that has put their team, you could say, and again, whether he put them over the top or not is debatable. There's not one guy you mentioned that you can say is over the top. Yeah, do that. But the problem now is I don't know that I can get a hold of CA. I need to know if you're in or out, and I have no way to reach CA. Oh, I can get him through I guess I can get him through the message board. So CA, be checking the message board if you would. Thanks for sticking around and catching up. Looking forward to see how many times you'll go over after retirement. See how many times you'll go. Well, it depends. I can go over when I don't have. Right now, we don't have a Roku network. We're not on a network where there's time restrictions and a show coming up afterwards. So if I go long, I go long. It's not a huge deal, and I don't mind doing it. Irish community is still not offended by Lucky Charms. Cyril Muscat. And with that, guys, see you later, Chris. He doesn't have his fists up, though, does he? Paul Spy, you did just respond. You're like the person in traffic stop that's screaming, I can't breathe. Oh, my God, guys. I've had a blast today, as always. See, AC, we're going to continue to disagree about Michael Parsons, and that's fine. I'm going to draft him with my first draft pick on Wednesday night. I think I lost my music again. With everything. But you said you heard the music last time, so I'm going to assume it's playing. I'm going to turn it down. I'm going to assume the music's playing because somebody told me last time it played and I wasn't hearing it. I have no idea why. But the gremlins are in the system again. That's fine. We'll figure them all out. But we'll learn. All right, I'll try. I'll see what I can do, Paul. I'll let you know. If I can't get you out, I'll let you know that too. I just need not to have an inactive team. So what I'll do is try to get a hold of CA, Brian. I'm going to try to get you the yeah, I know. It's kind of funky. I'm not hearing my music. I have no idea why. Anyway, guys, have a great Sunday. I'll see you tomorrow morning with Jack Hirsch on the Jack and Keith Weekend Playbook. We'll be back on Wednesday with the College Football Huddle, maybe an abbreviated version because of our fantasy football draft, but we'll have a full week of shows, and we'll see you later. 5 working days to go. Bye-bye, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.